Hello, welcome back. This is Jenine Marie of JanineMarieHypnosis.com and Life Lessons by Jenine Marie. And today we're going to be talking about quantum healing and what it means when we say quantum. Have you figured it out, or are you still curious? If you're curious, stick with me. Welcome back, and I am just spreading out here, and we're going to talk about quantum healing. And first and foremost, I guess we're just going to cover the word quantum. If you look it up by a Google search, you can look up quantum field, quantum energy. You can look up quantum healing. So in essence, the quantum field is made up of, dare I say, little particles of living beings. Yeah. Or, the quantum field or the quantum energy field is made up of energy that's interacting with itself all of the time. And I think you've heard me before, if you've watched my other videos, is that our universe does not have a measure of time. It is an eternal space. It's eternal. So the only measure of time is what we place upon ourselves in this human body. And we measure that by how many times we revolve around the sun. And our age, according to how many times we have made that 24-hour trip around the sun. Do we really want to calculate that? I like the universal way. We're ageless, we're eternal, we're amazing. We live and understand that quantum field. We have an essence inside of us, the soul, that is a part of that quantum field and has that energy that interacts with that field. Our human existence is always interacting with the universe. There is no time and space that regulates that interaction. It's always interacting with us, and we are always interacting with it. And I'm going to call the universe an it because it's an it. There's no persona. So when we talk about quantum healing, and we want to put that together with hypnosis or hypnotherapy. And this is important when you're looking for QHHT, past life regression. You want to go through between life regression. You want to look into the future. In order to slow down or tap into basically the quantum field or quantum energy, we need to slow down the process inside of our mind. And how do we do that? Because we want to regulate ourselves so that we can interact with it. And when we slow down the processes inside of our mind, we actually tap into that beautiful circulation of energy. And that, I guess if we look at the quantum field, those entities that interact with each other. Now, entities, I'm not saying ETs, like extraterrestrials, but I'm saying basically on a molecular field, they're basically entities. I mean, we have entities that live inside of us because we have cells and molecules, and they bounce around inside of our bodies. We exist in this human body. We were created to exist and thrive in this human body. And we're also created to exist and thrive outside of this human body. So when we slow down our own consciousness and how we process, and we do that through meditation, through hypnosis, through deep breathing, we slow down everything, the way that we process things inside of our mind. And I mean the higher mind, not the human brain, okay? Because the human brain bounces you all over the place. If you can get past the thoughts of the human brain and just slow down the higher mind, you can tap into the quantum field in a way where it's like no time or space really exists. So therefore, when we talk about past lives or future lives, or when we talk about in between lives. We exist in the quantum field in those lives all together. So there is no division. It's like we want to always dissect and divide things with our thinking mind. So here we have a past life. Here we have this life. We have an in-between life. We have a future life. We have birthdays. We have anniversaries. We have all these things. We want to divide things as human beings. But when we access the quantum energy field, there is no division. And whether we talk about it or access it or not, it exists that way. There is no division. So we're basically living our past lives and our current lives, our in-between lives, and our future lives all at once. Does that make sense? I hope so. Because it's the way we exist. It's the way we are. Out of this body, there is no sense of time. We have just basically the only thing that makes the difference in this human body is we don't remember the past life because we're not tapping into that area of the universe that has all of that information. Some call it the Akasha or Akashic records, the higher realm of consciousness, the place that's above and beyond the masters, above and beyond the angels or the guides or, some of the souls who have gone on before us. There is a knowledge that we can tap into because whether we know it or not, we are interacting with it every single day. If we consciously had that in our mind all of the time, we would never get anything done in this human body. We would never go through all of our lessons, right? But in order to find some healing for ourselves that comes from either in between lives, this life and the last, or the last life that we lived, or previous past lives, or even just regressing into the previous part of this life, we need to slow down our processes of our mind. And that means to just regulate ourselves to the point where we're not bouncing off, with thoughts, because thoughts are energy and thoughts bounce out into the universe. And, quite often we don't realize this because it is a subconscious thing that we go through. We are bouncing our, I want to say, dysfunction out into the universe. And so what we are creating is a cycle of dysfunction. And if we want to stop that cycle, we find out the why. Why is this happening? Why is this dysfunctioning happening in this life? And once we know our why, we can reverse it and we can change it. By what? Affirmation, by meditation, by hypnosis, hypnotic suggestion, by, just making a new decision. It's like, why do I always choose the same type of person to interact with? And it never works out right. And we find out this is something that we used to do in a past life. This is why we did this. And now that we know the why, we can spin it around and say, okay, once you know something, you can't unknow it, right? So we make a new decision. We start to recognize the characteristics of that particular type of relationship, and we stop. We stop and we think, and we don't just sporadically jump at something, okay? We actually make a new conscious decision. Life is about decisions, okay? So this is how the quantum field is important for us. We actually live without time in the past, the future, and the present, and all the in-between. And if you can slow down the processes of your mind and the way that you're thinking and allow some of that information to be channeled to you and through you, you can gain so much information that can bring you not only emotional, but physical healing. Is that just crazy? I mean, it sounds so simple, and it is. And you don't really need to know any more than that about the quantum field or, quantum energy, unless you want to go into it and study it and all of that. But knowing a little bit about it helps you understand how hypnosis really helps, you know. So, I hope this has been helpful for you. It's not something I really want to go into long, drawn out explanation, as far as the quantum field or quantum energy. But I just want you to picture, please, things bouncing off each other just very, very quickly. And when you slow things down and you get to a point where you can translate. It's like when somebody, okay, thank you for this inspiration. It's like when somebody talks to you in a different language and you're learning that language, but they're speaking very, very quickly and you don't understand it, even though that was just your last lesson. You want them to slow down. You tell them, please slow down your speaking so that I can understand you, so that I can translate what you are talking about into my language inside of my mind, so that I can understand what you're saying. Same exact principle. Oh my goodness. My stomach is growling so much. I mean, so loud. I think the quantum field is telling me it's time to go and get some lunch. I hope that this has been slightly enlightening to you. If you have any questions, you can always email me at angelwing7777@gmail.com. And I can tell you about QHHT and how hypnotherapy in that form can help you find your why and help you change your life. How amazing is that? Until then, I'll talk to you real soon. And I'm going to say I'm loving you from here. And if we want to put that in quantum perspective, there is no distance or time. From here is right where you are. So, hello. I love you right here. I love you right there. And I love you to all of the heavens and back. Okay? So I'll talk to you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.